9 of Blue Water League Plat. We have Omega Gaming Fire taking on Chubby Babies White. And we are straight into Big Ban here. My name is Ivar. I am joined by the wonderful Rude Dude here. What's up, buddy?
Not much. I'm having a good evening. Ready for Fire to show us what they've got here. We've got the final week in the regular season of the Blue Otter Plat League today. And this is a big game coming into tonight because Omega Gaming Fire currently, the way that the leaderboards are sitting, need a 2-0 in this best of three series. The formatting of Blue Otter League is
Unique.
scripted, yeah, unique and scripted so that tonight at least, the way that previous results have fallen, that Omega Gaming Fire need a 2-0 in this best of three series. We had two best of ones, two best of ones last week. That set Fire back a little bit, unfortunately. So this week coming in, they need that 2-0. A 2-1 will not suffice as a victory because of the points system that is implemented by Blue Water League. The Chubby Babies will go through on playoffs, and then that would put the fate of Fire's destiny into the hands of the other teams within the group this evening. So we have to hope that Fire can get a 2-0, and if it's only a 2-1, then we have to rely on other results going our way for us to get into playoffs. That being said, though, as Ivar has so rightfully mentioned, we are underway in draft, and a few bans got taken away already.
Yeah, we see the Hecarim Caitlyn Lucian taken away by Fire. And then we see the Darius Recon Kled taken away by Chubby Babies here. The Kled and Darius definitely targeted towards Necro, the top lane here, for Fire. I'm assuming the solution is a mid lane flex that Chubby Babies has an option to do, so that also is banned away. But first pick Volibear comes out.
Yeah, and we can definitely suggest that this could be another flex pick in itself, right? That the Volibear recently, at least, has seen a lot of pro play, especially in Worlds, in the top lane. Also has been used as a jungler in patches gone by, though since the move speed nerf to the Q, hasn't really been feeling the same in that jungle, so probably expected to go toward the top. Maybe it goes jungle for a bit more comfort into Demonic's hands. But the Chubby Baby's here answering back.
Yeah, the J4 does two different things here. It takes it away from Fire. I know the demonic, or I'm gonna call him D-Money because we're boys. We've been calling him D-Money for years. But he's a proficient J4 player. He's played it. I think that's his most played. It's between that and the Zac, if I'm not wrong, that he has been playing in most of these series. So that takeaway is really important.
Yeah, and of course the Zac's still open, but with this composition already from Chubby Babies, you're not expecting to see that come through necessarily. The Alistair and the Jarvan pretty good at trying to keep a Zac away. Set locked in though. Another flex pick here really for Fire. This can also be flexed jungle, top, and indeed in this case the support role. Not really giving anything away so far in this draft, so keeping their options open as they go into what would be this third pick here.
Yeah. Set kind of indicating that maybe this Volibear might go jungle, unless there's something we don't know. And now Zaya picked a very different pick
Okay.
in the current meta, especially with the Rakan already being banned.
Yeah, the blind Zaya here, probably something that he's going to want to try and disengage from the Alistair. You see that headbutt pulverize combo coming on, and you don't want to get hit by that because then you do get locked up by the Jarvan, by other CC that Chubby Babies are going to draft for themselves here. So the Feather Storm going to be nice to keep some distance away. But with two tanks locked in, that's a Vayne.
Yeah. Vayne, and she has the protection of the Alistar here in the bot lane to disengage any potential ganks and keep her safe so she can get through that laning phase into the mid to late game.
I'll be interested to see what Fire decide to pair up with this Zaya down in the bot lane, with Rakan banned away especially. Kiri's Thresh is still open. It's something worth noting here that he can pick that up if he wants it, especially versus a Jarvan as well, has a little bit of utility trying to interrupt the flag and drag. The Lantern can be really good for repositioning a carry out of the Cataclysm. And also you can, CC a Vayne if you're on point with those death sentences. Ban phase 2 just starting though.
Yeah, the Cassiopeia taken away from Catasol. The cannon, I'm assuming, is a top lane ban. I don't see too many mid lane cannons, so that cannon targeted towards Shadow Balls in the top lane there for Chubby Baby's weight. I wonder if they're going to ban away the Ori because Catasol can has and can 1v9 games is Oriana.
It's definitely a safe ban to get rid of. Ori, really safe blind pick in just every meta, essentially, probably the safest mid laner that there is. They take away another marksman, though, this time a mid laner. Is Corki in that fifth ban slot for Chubby Babies, taking away some of Katasol's late game carry potential, something that you just highlighted as being very, very deadly.
Yeah. I wonder. I'm trying to think of different ways Fire can close out this composition here.
So they've already got very strong engage, I think. Or maybe it's not strong, but it's definite engage, right? The set is a good counter pick to the Jarvan because the Jarvan just jumps on in and then the set takes him back out essentially. Find yourself in the backline. If the Jarvan ever engages, the set should be fine to just counter engage with the Jarvan in tow. Fire probably looking to round out with a nice magic damage source in the mid lane and then something to complement this Xayah down in the bot lane because they can definitely punish early on. Vayne Alistair, two picks that typically scale better than they do lane. Alistair providing a lot of teamfight utility and the Vayne a lot of teamfight damage. So hopefully something to punish this weak laning phase here from Chubby Babies.
Yeah. Also need the side of Fire needs something to shore these tanks. If J4 goes tanky, I don't think the Xayah is going to suffice. They need a secondary. Okay, the Syndra I could see doing some disengage work, but I still think they need a little bit more damage. Usually they play bruisers in the top lane. I wonder if the set will go support and they opt into a different matchup for the top lane. Mordekaiser is still up. It would be a great pick.
Yeah, I was just about to say they can flex this set down to support Mordekaiser open means the Ornn would get counterpicked, but we'll have to see 5 seconds running down left on the pro draft. It's going to be the Nautilus here, so it's something that can punish this weaker laning phase. But the Alistair here into Nautilus probably does an adequate job at least at trying to protect the Vayne. As soon as the Nautilus jumps on in, if it hits the dredge line onto the Vayne, Alistair's combo is going to buy so much time for the Vayne to not get hit by Xayah that it's really not too much of an issue if the dredge line does connect and everybody's positioned as they should be.
And the Oriana picked up for that J4 Oriana instant wombo combo. The flag drag cataclysm into shockwave.
And with an
Revolt.
on-horn layered on top of that as well.
Yeah. Alistar comboing on top of it as well.
It's very clear what Chubby Babies want to do, and it's going to be whether Fire can prevent them from doing it because they have themselves a stable split pusher in that set, right? So taking the set to the top side would be something to note if they're going to try and make a split push play out of it to keep that Ornn away from the team fights because Chubby Babies just want to 5 versus 5. CC everybody on fire and then keep the Vayne safely free hitting from a distance. It's very simple, basic team fight League of Legends that they've drafted for themselves. And it can definitely work here. They've got two very strong damage sources, a very strong front line with Alistair Ornn and the Jarvan should it go tanky. And on Fire's side, it looks a little bit different. You look at the tank shredding capabilities and Syndra not the best mage, Xayah not the best AD carry, but both can do it if they get the items. Xayah going to be really waiting on that 3-item spike if the the Infinity Edge Essence Reaver and the Chosen Zeal item do come through. Then expect the Xayah to have some form of tank shred capability and also has the ability to just build themselves a Last Whisper, a 4th or 3rd item if necessary.
I agree. I don't know. A lot of this game is going to be dictated by the early game. If Fire is going to be able to, edge out the side of Chubby Baby's white here, they'll be able to, use that advantage going into mid to late game. But if it's even going into late game, I think Chubby Baby Whites might take the cake.
Yeah, because they need one Cataclysm Shockwave combo to just open up the game. And with a Vayne just tumbling around consistently in the backline as well can be really dangerous. You're exactly right though that the volley bear set topside combo needs to get some things going early on. We actually see here that Necro's locked in the volley bear on the top side, so not going to be that split push set. Obviously, they still have the option to swap champions in the client, but typically expecting Necro to be on this volley bear. So the split push threat not quite as strong as we'd imagined early on, but this Volibear is going to be a lot more potent at trying to dive onto that vein.
Yeah, I really wish it was set top. Trying to think. Unless demonic, like you mentioned, is not comfortable in the Volibear and is more comfortable in the set, then that could be a big thing. But Volibear's ganks seem to be more potent than Set's ganks, and Set's laning seems to be a little bit better than Volibear's.
Well, Volibear lanes incredibly well right now, I think, as
Okay,
well. With the Sky Splitter, you just can't out trade him, I don't think. He has, and if you get an extended trade, 2 casts of the Volibear W means that you just heal up through 90% of the damage that the Ornn took, or the Ornn dealt. So I think
okay,
Volibear's laning is definitely super strong in the early game, and that's sort of why he's been seen, because he goes toe to toe very well with Renekton, with Camille, with Jax, all of these things that are being picked. And Into an Ornn should be fairly adequate in the early stages. Expect Shadow Balls to go back, get a Brown Buff Vest pretty early on, and try and reduce the healing that Volibear can do, with those Ws being, so
so potent.
obnoxious. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, I just saw
I
the mid and ADC swap, and I was like, hello.
hello.
But there he
Yeah, I'm
is.
not. I haven't seen too much of this top lane Volibear, like you're saying. I know you mentioned they've been playing it a little bit internationally in Worlds. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So then maybe there is some technology behind it, some dark tech per se, that is going to be taken advantage of by Fire here. Mid lane
Yeah.
matchup. Thoughts, Syndra into Ori?
Syndra, so people say that this is like not a skill. I think that this goes Syndra's favor, and I think that at the top levels that it really can. But Ori does a pretty decent job at neutralizing Syndra. If you remember, last week we had the Morgana counterpick into LeBlanc, right?
Hmm.
I feel like Ori serves the same purpose in this particular matchup, just sort of a neutralizer to the Syndra. Typically, if the Ori goes back, gets himself a pair of Merc Treads, the kill threat from Catasol really isn't going to be there all that much. Syndra should definitely have the advantage in the lane and have first priority. It really does depend on how well the laners are laning, essentially. I mean, as does every game, but feel like if we're skill checking one another here, then the Syndra should be able to win out on the Orianna, at least early on. Obviously, when you get to team fights, Orianna provides a little bit more than a Syndra, you have to think, unless we get an insane scatter with the Dark Sphere Scatter the Weak combo. And Syndra's one-shot potential onto this vein is something that we need to monitor, really. You look across Chubby Baby's team composition and you can see that their clear damage threat is going to be this vein, and if the Syndra can blow up the vein every single time, Syndra will be more than happy to trade one for one in that instance with the vein. So we're going to be interested to see how the team fights play out, how the early game plays out, because that is really the determining feature of if Fire get ahead, they should be able to close out versus the Chubby Babies. But as you mentioned, going into this mid game or late game even is really not an option.
Yeah, I agree. I think you hit it right on the horn there with that last statement. It really sums up this draft from looking at it in a bubble. But we're going to cut it to a quick break here. We have a minute waiting on spectator delay. We're just going to wait this out, get into game, get synced up, and we will be back. So just bear with us. Thanks.
The moment when Amumu realized what he had done. Too late it was for him, for them. The evil curse had won. The anger and the anguish overwhelmed his fragile soul and caused a wicked tantrum that he never could control.
Okay, everybody, we are loaded onto the Rift. Game 1 of this best of 3. Week 9 of Blue Water League Plat, Omega Gaming Fire taking on Chubby Babies White. We see a 5-man stack coming out from Fire here in the bot lane. We did.
Yeah, and this is to be expected. I guess with the Nautilus pick, they have a lot of potential to find something early on. And Kiri could flash here. Ooh. Okay, good trade.
That's worth.
100%.
It's worth.
With
That'll
that,
open up a gank opportunity, right?
exactly. It opens up for Demonic to get something going, and they don't even need to be in a vulnerable position, potentially, to get ganked. If Demonic just walks on in with the Q, just flashes in on the Vayne. Hook and Fisted really needs to be careful with his Pulverize expenditure here, because if he misses that, or if he uses it on the wrong target, the Vayne is just going to get CC'd, and without Flash available, it's going to be in a really difficult spot. So you always trade Flash for Flash when you are the support with the AD carry. Like the amount of times that Blitzcranks will just flash on me as an ADC, and I'm like forced to flash away and then just get punished for it consistently. It's pretty annoying, but this game, Reliable will have to be very considerate with where he places himself. Both junglers starting on the bot side, it looks like, so unless we see Demonic full clear his bot side into a level 3 gank, expect early on at least the jungle pressure to be toward that top side, and that first crab in the top lane to be the one to be focused.
Yeah, and we see the deep ward placed by Shadow Balls and the blue side of Fire's jungle. They know exactly where Demonic has started.
Yeah, exactly, and you know we can see the wards traded 1 for 1 essentially. That Fire saw Anderson start on his blue buff, so both junglers have full information on where the enemy jungler has started. Looks like they're both going for a full clear off the start at least. Set going to clear Krugs, Jarvan doing a full bot side clear. And with this Conqueror in tow, his early ganking isn't too potent, doesn't have a early game keystone necessarily. Level 2 hit here down on the bot side by the Chubby Babies first, having that push priority. And Hook and Fisted looking to zone out Mori from getting these last hits, but isn't going to be able to be successful here. The wave crashing on in means that Fire hit level 2, no contestion particularly. You can see already that Mori has actually lost a few CS in this first wave, be that just because of a misexecution or pressure. Slight discrepancies already forming.
Yeah. Also in this top lane, Necro's really just having his way with Shadow Balls, like you mentioned that. Oh wait, there's an engage back from Shadow Balls. She uses the Searing Charge to get a little bit of a trade back, but the I can't remember the name of the abilities. The Sky Splitter, I think it's called, right? For Volibear really just makes those trades winnable. But a gank in the top lane, we see Anderson Cooper here, but he might go down. He has to defensively flash and drag. Necro's looking for maybe a flash auto flash away from Anderson Cooper. Necro's going for a 1v2 in the top lane, and both the jungler and the top lane of Chubby Baby White have to run away and
tail between their legs. They're terrified of this Volibear early on, and rightly so. Here you can see the damage that he's putting out with that Doran's ring early on. I believe as well he's probably put a point into, or 2 points into the Sky Splitter. Has a fairly decent AP ratio early on. And the, like you say, the trade potential of this Volibear is really coming to fruition. This cloth armor in the early game at the very least really won't do all that much for Shadow Balls because of the magic damage. Sky Splitter, the W as well, is going to deal a lot of magical damage, so On really needs to be careful up on this top side because still has the flash available, but this Volibear is going to have teleport advantage and also just be able to pretty much run you down.
I will say that flash being burned by the J4 is actually really big for the side of Fire. It allows Demonic to have a little bit of freedom, not have to worry about a potential play being made by J4. Because now if J4 shows up in a lane and he gets hooked in or he gets snared by
Roots, yeah, anything. A lot of CC.
by Zaya, or there's CC in every lane. That's what I'm trying to get at, right? If he gets hit by that, he could just die instantly. He has to come in with the flag and drag, and then he has no way to get out because he's flashless.
Exactly, and it also prevents the engage potential. The flag drag flash combo is something that teams have to be careful of here, and Fire in particular with the immobile mid and AD carry. Need to be cognizant of that. If the Jarvan had the flash available, then his engage range is extended, and you might have thought that you were safe, but then that flash comes through to extend the knock-up. But as you mentioned, with that not being available, is not an option. Necro Goes on in. Look at the damage already, and I'm actually going to check here because I want to know. He's actually putting only points into the W, which, you know, that's what you should be maxing on the Volibear, but I wondered if he'd just go the E for a little bit more lane pressure. Typically on Volibear, you're able to, you know, pull off this combo pretty flawlessly. You just walk up, stun them, and place the Sky Splitter where you think you're going to stun them, and 9 times out of 10, it's pretty successful, and it's working full force here on this top side.
Yeah. And also the mid lane seems like there's heavy trading going on. I know the Syndra just backed and came back, but before that, all of her corrupting charges were used, and both the potions by Oriana were used as well. So definitely a trade lane going on.
Yeah, we can see it just in terms of the mid lane items here that this CS lead that was established previous to the recall from Barack Obama has actually netted himself quite a sizable advantage because Catasol has gone back and just picked up early game components essentially. Had the corrupting potion, went back, bought a D-ring, bought a mana crystal, and bought a dark seal. Oh, but here we go. Dragon started up. Demonic quite low, and Anderson nearby.
And they're gonna go onto this. That's what I was talking about. Beautiful smite coming out. One kill being picked up by the Vayne there. Picks up the auto attack over the top. Rockwell has to flash away. Really, really low health. Does not have Shockwave available, but they have to be focusing the Vayne. They're focusing the Alistar. Go onto the Vayne, guys. Vayne's going to be able to free hit over the top of this team fight, and they're able to pick up that kill in the low health numbers. Tries for the flash condemn play, but Mori's probably going to go down here, and Catasol also is now in a precarious situation as the Alistar combo is coming up.
Not going to be long on that.
Yeah.
Here it comes.
Yeah. And that's just when tragically for that's going to be another kill. Probably donate over to Vayne. That's 3 kills. Tragic team fight start for the side of Omega Gaming Fire.
It looked so good as well. They get the Drake and get the kill on the Jarvan. Necro on this top side could be trading back. Doesn't go for the ultimate to dive, but that team fight down on the bot side, as you rightly mentioned, catastrophic here for Fire, giving Vayne 3 kills early game. Probably the single worst champion to give those kills over to. And Reliable had that flash available, didn't get punished early on, as we'd hoped it would do. And a really big pulverize from Hook and Fisted, actually. 3-man pulverize, essentially stalling out Mori, Kiri, and Catasol, meaning that they weren't able to generate the distance needed to get onto the backline, get onto the Vayne. And you quite rightly pointed out that their target selection as the fight progressed needed a little bit of work. But that recall is actually really detrimental for Mori because he wasn't able to pick up his BF sword, wasn't able to get that big 1300 gold injection into his lane, and this now sat on Caulfield's Warhammer and some boots. Going to be quite a while before he's able to pick up that BF sword, and he's now really just hoping for a farm lane because he can't trade versus this Vayne because they've now got, if we look at the gold here, a 1000 gold advantage down just in the AD carries. This Vayne is already huge, and we're 8 minutes into the game.
Yeah, that's pretty much the entire goal lead in the game. It's just on the ADs.
And that's so huge because the ADs would decide this game. Vayne and Xayah are 2 champions that can hard carry, but with the Vayne being 1000 gold ahead of you, it feels really bad if you are Mori this time.
But there's still signs of hope. That's not the game. Vayne can still get caught out in team fights. Does not have too much peel besides her own peel. But with that being said, Chubby Baby's Whites really don't have to do much anymore. They outscale. They just need to play safe and make sure they scale into the late game, and they should be able to close this game out.
Yeah, exactly. Now, we really need Fire to step up in terms of what they can do, and Necro's continuously punishing up on this top lane. I'd maybe like to see Demonic go up and then just use the 2 versus 1, use that Volibear ultimate to call a dive down. Because it's so easy to dive as Volibear, and especially when Necro's dominating this lane and the trade so hard. It's something to keep note of in the mid lane.
Yeah, Shockwave is used onto Catasol. Catasol gets out of the Cataclysm, does have the Scatter of the Week available. TP comes up from Necro. He does use the ultimate to close that gap. Anderson Cooper has the flag drag. He gets away, and he has the dissonance speed.
Yeah, so TP expended for Necro right there. That TP advantage that he's had pretty much the entire lane used, and doesn't particularly yield any fruit for himself. Almost a plate taken down on the top side. The unable to pick up another wave of experience over the Volibear and, you know, try and claw his way back into this laning phase. But it doesn't really matter, does it? You know, you punish an Ornn as hard as you can, the Ornn is still going to teamfight like an absolute monster. Isn't really down on experience, isn't losing the levels out, and is going to reach that level 13, level 14 mark really early. Kiri, though, pops the dredge line.
Yeah. D-Money is in the bot lane here. Beautiful Condemned, stopping the pullback on the Facemaker, but we see the ultimate showstopper used. Reliable's going to just DPS down D-Money. He's probably going to go down. Yeah, he does. On the backs of the team fight, we do see Catasoul come in. The feathers are pulled back, and that's a kill picked up for Catasoul, and Shadow Balls will also go down here. Probably donate that over to Yep, Catasoul will be getting that kill. 2 for 1 in favor of Omega Gaming Fire.
Yeah, so a nice little response there. Unfortunately, there is a kill given over to Reliable on this Vayne. But kills given back to Mori and to Catasoul, the 2 carries here for Fire. Getting a little bit of love right now, and there's maybe potential for a dive to go on right here if the Fire are feeling spicy. That TP down as well means that Necro gets, you know, a massive lead back in this lane if he wasn't winning the lane hard enough. The TP being used by Shadow Balls is able to net himself 1 assist, but you really want more than that. It's definitely not a worth TP for him. For the team, however, you have to, you know, you can weigh up the pros and cons.
Yeah. And I think it's like as bad as it is that all the kills are going to the Vayne. It kind of just puts a target on her that she's the only person they have to really kill, right?
Exactly.
And they have a lot of like single target damage and single target CC with the Syndra and the Nautilus. So there's still potential for a playback going into some of these team fights later in the game.
Yeah, and that is the power of this Syndra we're hoping for here, that Catasoul can just find Vayne in a backline, find Vayne literally anywhere, and blow her up, because that unleashed power will be dealing so much damage to the Vayne. Still yet to get any magic resistance, and you know, we can expect it to be quite a while before that's built up, if it is built up at all here. Probably the best defensive item will be a Phantom Dancer for the Vayne, so as long as the kills on Catasoul start to roll in, or even onto Necro here, because Volibear, you know, even though he's a tank and even though Vayne will be able to deal with him quite easily, just the base damages from a Volibear early on can definitely catch Reliable off guard.
Yeah, I agree. The base damage from the Volibear can be deceptively high.
And he is pushing constantly on this top side, and he's netted 2 plates for himself as well. Gonna try and trade a little bit here. Has the Balmy Cinder as well, so isn't going for a Trinity Force build or a Black Cleaver build or anything like that. Has a Kindle Gem in his inventory, and now he's caught top lane.
That's a flash and ult away.
Flash as well as the ultimate. I feel like one of those would have been enough. But gets out nonetheless, is safe, doesn't give up a kill, so is not the end of the world here. Just going to have to be worried about the fact that he doesn't have those cooldowns available, and if Jarvan decides that he wants to go top lane in maybe a minute and a half, he's going to have that cooldown available where the Volibear is not. Oh, here we go, fight in the jungle.
Yeah, fight in the jungle, they need to be careful. Catasoul does not use the scatter yet, looking for the right angle. Flashes forward to try to get this kill onto Reliable, but Reliable is still live in the backline using the heal and flash. Beautiful 2-man shockwave by the Barack Obama in the mid lane here on Zoriana, and 1 kill is being picked up. Now Mori shows up. Is he going to be able to use the feathers to pick up some kills? Hook and Fisted will go down to Curie as he uses the Ignite on him. Hook does not land, is actually blocked by that wall there. Mori finally uses the ultimate. Double kill picked up for Barack Obama on this Oriana, and Mori is dead to rights now. Just trying to trade back some damage, but she's going to go down. Probably donated over to the Oriana. Nope. J4 will pick up that kill, and tragic team fight is again for Omega Gaming Fire here.
Yeah, the jungle was not their friend in that instance. So many occasions, people just slithering away on minute amounts of HP. The flash and the heal used by Reliable, but used perfectly to keep himself alive. The Syndra didn't have the Ludens, I don't believe, so wasn't there to fully one-shot the Vayne, and was able to survive, unfortunately. Mori just now finished that Essence Reaver as well, so damage not quite there for the skirmish in the jungle, and the re-engage from Anderson, from Barack Obama, was enough. Played around the feathers really well, you know, saw the Feather Storm go down in one direction, and Barack Obama actually calling the bluff of Mori, saying pull the feathers, do it, and then just immediately running back behind to pretty much dodge all of them, really removing a ton of the Zaya's damage. Because in the early stages at least, the pullback, the Blade Caller, is where the majority of Zaya's damage comes from. You know, obviously wanting to get those auto attacks in where she can, but until 3 items hit, feels more like hitting like a little car as opposed to a truck at this point.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. With the uh, with this 5k gold lead, it's not a not 5k, 5 kill gold lead. Wait, we have an engage here. Anderson Cooper flagging drag, flashes away, emoting lastly flashes away here.
Yeah, so gets to safety, has to burn the flash once again defensively, but you know every single time he's had to be flashing away, he's never been punished for it just yet. So Fire not particularly, maybe not keeping track of cooldowns, so maybe not punishing the cooldowns is probably a better way to phrase it.
Yeah, I think that's the right way to put it. I was gonna say like the kill discrepancy is huge. The gold is not too bad. 2k at 15 minutes is manageable. But still, so far, these team fights have been pretty one-sided. The focus and positioning that's been coming out from the side of Chubby Baby's Whites has been pretty good.
Yeah, and they could see a fight in this river here. One has the teleport available, so we could see a 5v5 if the TP comes through. Scatter finds the Ori.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to commit onto that.
They're just going to trade the Rift Herald for the mid tier 1 and also some fairly sizable damage on the bot tier 1 as well here. On doing his damnedest to try and whack away at it, but with his little hammer the Goatman is not strong enough, and they could try and bush camp here. Kiri.
They're going to go straight into D-Money here. D-Money has to use that Space Breaker to stay alive, and he will actually walk it out. 2 ultimates used, no kills picked up, but that dragon should be theirs.
Yeah, the second Drake of the game that is going to go in the pockets of the Chubby Babies here. Nice little camp in the brush to find the set, punish him, don't get the kill, but they don't need it. They've forced him back to his base. He's not going to be able to smite contest. Necro just chilling around here, throws down the Sky Splitter as a formality, but Smite's going to come through, secure the objective for the Chubby Babies here, and sets themselves up to start getting towards this Mountain Soul pretty quickly here. You know, he talks about the early game needing to go in favor. Oh, but Necro, you actually caught here. Oh,
uses a Stormbringer to jump away. Jumps over the flag and drag, but we see the Call of the Forge God used just for some damage.
Yeah, as soon as the Stormbringer's called, that's never going to result in a kill, and that's a cooldown pretty much wasted right there, but I don't really think that it matters all that much. Anderson Cooper looking for Kiri, looking for Necro as well. 4 people down here for the Chubby Babies. This entire time, Mori, the lead DPS source, is up on the top side, so
they're going to trade towers, it looks like.
Yeah, Fire going to walk away with funneled turret gold into the Xayah, which is definitely better off here. You know, 100 gold across 4 members. It's definitely less efficient than, you know, stacking 400 into this Xayah. So that's a trade definitely in favor of Fire, but we talked about it in the draft, right? That if Fire are going into this mid game or this late game even or behind, then it's a really detrimental spot for them to be in. They wanted to be in the lead and they wanted to be dictating the game. Losing 2 neutral objectives and, you know, just now breaking open their first turret is not where we want them to be, especially with the gold deficit as well. We're reaching the stage where it feels really difficult for Fire to really force anything at all. Vayne has got the Blade of the Ruin King, is only 1,000 gold away from that Ginsu's as well. So these tanks who, you know, have these base stats, these base HP bars that are just ridiculously high, are soon going to start getting melted by this Vayne because those 2 items are going to come through. And this isn't, you know, Vayne of Season 7, Season 6 where you needed 3 or 4 items to be huge. Once Vayne's got those 2 items, it can tear up a team fight of tanks.
Yeah. Once that Rage Blade's completed, she can really take over team fights, especially with Necro only having MR and health built right now, right? That's almost perfect for Vayne, right? She just was gonna shred through. I'm pretty sure she's once you come up on that level 11 mark, she will be maxed. She actually is already maxed in the W, so her true damage is gonna be astronomical here. A little bit of trading in the bot lane, nothing too crazy.
Yeah, Vayne leveling skills really does depend on the game, and normally at least you're going to see a W max because the situations that you pick Vayne are versus tanks, but there are games where if you end up picking a Vayne and then the enemy just doesn't draft tanks into you, you can get away with tumble max because the percent HP damage just really isn't felt versus, you know, 5 squishy members, and the added cooldown to get away from the damage dealers typically, or the mobility needed to dodge their skill shots is more impactful. Fire going to call the Rift Herald in the mid lane, doesn't quite take out the turret, takes it down to, you know, a slither of HP, but the gold, importantly, remains up for the grabs, and the turret isn't broken, so access into the jungle is not as easy as Fire would like.
Yeah, we see some trading in the bot lane here. I think Shadow Balls is officially tanky enough to, just walk away from this. Not have to worry about dying. He actually might start winning this the later this goes, because ornaments will start kicking in.
Yeah, the Volibear definitely... I think the Volibear will pretty much always win this in an extended matchup. Oh, Catasol, you have Flash, you need to use this to get out.
Nah, she's going to instantly go down here.
Yeah, you can't Flash when the Jarvan still has Cataclysm available. If you ever stepped that far forward, then you've already gone too far. Unfortunately, using the Flash there is still going to get locked up by the Cataclysm Shockwave combination. Not really too much counterplay to it other than holding the Flash and flashing the important cooldowns. You really need to try and get away from the Flag and Drag just using sidesteps or mobility, because you're going to see right there was the perfect example of what happens when you try and use a Flash to dodge one of the skills. The bigger ultimates are just going to come through and they're going to take you down. They'll be more than happy to expend 90-second cooldowns in order to burn the Flash of a Syndra and still get the kill. So big kill picked up on the top side. Drake spawning in 30 seconds, which means that with the death of the Syndra, that Chubby Babies have had the ability to do what they want on the map. They didn't choose to necessarily take out the vision just yet, but now with all of the priority that they have from just the gold lead itself, they're going to walk on in, take control of this river and start controlling this mountain Drake. If they get this, this will put them at soul point. And they're going to
Going into this choke could be bad. See the TP coming out from Orianna, yeah. Beautiful engage from both the Alistar and the J4 here. He flashes away, Call of the Forge God, 3-man Shockwave actually stopped. One kill going to be picked up by the side of Orianna here, and Reliable can free hit. 4-man Scatter into a Stormbringer, looked good for a second, but Orianna's going to flash over the wall and try to just secure this team fight, and that's going to be an ace in favor of Chubby Babies White.
Yeah, and that team fight could have gone so well for Fire, but they just don't have the items. Funneling to that choke versus Syndra, Volibear, and the Xayah. You could see it, right? The Blade Caller comes through, the Scatter the Weak on top of Dark Sphere, and the Volibear ulti on top of that could have been tremendous, but the items just aren't there for Fire. They aren't strong enough to take the team fights, and it goes back to their early game execution of failing the team fight in bot side, failing the team fight in the bot river. They don't have the items to win those team fights effectively, and that's really going to start this snowball pretty much beyond repair, I believe, for Fire. The Chubby Babies have got themselves to soul point now. 5 minutes time, the Mountain Drake will spawn, and the way that the game is going, Chubby Babies White are going to be able to pick that up pretty much freely. If they choose to take a fight, they should be coming out on top. Reliable with those 2 items coming through is definitely capable of taking down the 3 tank lines of Fire. And that team fight as well, Barack Obama coming absolutely huge, as you mentioned. 3-man Shockwave. One of them was able to immune it with the Showstopper, but the damage was done at that point. The Shockwave came through. The tanks were pretty much crushed without the Vayne going to town on them at all. And most importantly, Necro wasn't there providing frontline or providing any backline threat. Came into the team fight about half HP, just from I don't even know why. Maybe just a chunk out previously. And just wasn't able to threaten Ori or this Vayne in any capacity. Death Charge did a little bit in trying to keep the Vayne away, but the Ori just came huge instead.
Yeah. And we see a little bit of trading in the bot lane here, but like I said, Shadow Balls is going to start to win these pretty convincingly, because these ornaments are going to be kicking in. He already has the Forge Fire here. Is it called a Forge Fire? Yeah, Forge Fire Cape.
Forge Fire Cape, for sure. Look at you knowing your little items. Very impressive.
9 to 5 caster.
But yeah, I mean, we're waiting on this now, but Chubby Babies, as you mentioned, don't really need to do anything. Every time they've gone for a neutral objective, Fire have just walked into them and fed them kills, essentially. They're just playing their game, securing neutral objectives and trying to win the game through that. Fire are giving them the fights that they want, and by no means are Chubby Babies hesitant to take the fight. Hook and Fisted was no slouch when it came to pulling that engage button with the headbutt pulverize combo. You can even see he's built the Dead Man's Plate up to provide a little bit more CC and also more potential to engage. That extra movement speed going to be really impactful trying to get into the backline or trying to get into any form of engage at all. Not typically an item that you see on an Alistar, but definitely has its benefits here in this game.
Yeah, at what point do you think it's tipping over to the point of no return.
I think they're already there. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. It's
I think
so
Soul
difficult.
might be like really
Okay, TP
like,
from Necro.
but they're just gonna go straight onto him. Has to Stormbreaker defensively. They're gonna go onto Anderson Cooper here. Anderson Cooper is pretty tanky, you know. Went for that Knight's Vow. He's still alive there, and beautiful Cataclysm. He finally goes down here, and Mori's pretty low here, and the tanks in the front line on the side of Chubby White too big, and they're just gonna run it down.
Yeah, you know, a really big backline Cataclysm Shockwave combo, catching Mori and Catasol off guard, meant that, you know, Reliable was, yes, under threat from Demonic and from Necro, but nothing particularly coming through in terms of the set or Volibear damages. Was able to use the invisibility of that final hour to get to safety, you know, generated a little bit of space, and that was all that he needed to start tearing through the team fights. Barack Obama has been synergizing so well with Anderson Cooper in this game. You can see this Jarvan hasn't even built tanky particularly. He's definitely gone the more supportive route with the Locket, with the Knight's Vow picked up. And this Vayne just cannot be killed at this point because of all of the damage mitigation that the Knight's Vow provides. The Phantom Dancer now being built up as well as that. And the backline diving threats are just not damaging enough anymore. Volibear hasn't got any damage items. The set has got a Dead Man's Plate. So relying on base damages 25 minutes into the game versus a Vayne with 2-3 items at this point. It's not going to be enough here.
Yeah, I think we're both on the same page here, where it's past the point of no return. Hook onto Barack Obama, and he's going to instantly go down. Shutdown, unfortunately, going over to Kiri.
Yeah, the Ignite tick takes him down, and that kill would have been so nice on any of the carries that were there to collect it. Kiri picks it up with just the final, or one of the Ignite ticks. But that being said, that is a big cooldown on the death timer, and the Drake spawning in 30 seconds, pretty much level with the death timer of the Ori. Has teleport as well, so there is a world where they just TP in and take the fight. But Fire are going to have position on this with the 5 versus 3 it is. They're going to look to engage.
They have to burn this Alistar down, but yeah, the ultimate just too much, and he just flashes away.
Yeah, level 2 ultimate at this point as well, 60% damage reduction from the Alistar. They piled a lot into him, didn't want to commit any ultis, but now there could be a re-engage. Anderson Cooper going to look for a steal.
Yeah, the TP also was used by Shadow Balls. He misses the call, the fortified reactivation, but you see the damage coming out of the Vayne now. Kiri getting like 4-shot, and he's supposed to be one of their frontliners. Cataclysm used, Mori is stuck there, Condemn will be used, Rock'n'Roll picks that kill up, and that should be all they wrote. They should be able to run down this mid lane.
Oh.
Flash from Barack Obama, really looking to pick up that solo kill. Yeah, that was pretty much a solo kill.
Yeah. And that could be game here. Baron's still on Chubby Babies for maybe 15 seconds longer. They're going to have a wave coming on in as well post this siege minion. Fire going to have to do their best, but they're just diving.
Yeah, and Vayne's just free hitting. You could see the silver bolt stacks on all the tank members, and it's just DPS out the wazoo. And they're just Reliable is just focusing on ending the game. She doesn't care about the rest of the team fight. And that will be game 1 going over to Chubby Baby White.
Yeah, so that is a very not quick game, but quite convincing for me. I feel like Chubby Baby's White pretty much knew what they wanted to do throughout that game and executed on it pretty flawlessly here. If we just look at it, that you know they wanted to wait out, try and bait in some engages from the side of Fire, and they do it fairly handily. They take some really nice team fights down on the bot side. Reliable coming out of lane with 3 kills was really just so huge, and it really felt like there was never really any coming back from that. And you know that can be worked on in game number 2, but this now means that Fire are now relying on other results in the group going their way if they want to make it into playoffs. Even if they now turn this game back into a 2-1, it doesn't put them automatically into a playoff spot. Means that they, like I say, are going to rely on other results being in their favor.
Yeah. Yeah.
So look at the damage here.
I'm looking at the damage, and it's pretty evenly distributed for the side of Mega Gaming Fire, but on the side of Chubby Baby White, Barack Obama really leading the pack.
Yeah, you know, we were talking a lot about the Vayne and the scaling that the Vayne had, but Barack Obama, just that entire game, went absolutely massive in nearly all of the team fights, right? And you can make the argument that executing J4 Ori means that the Oriana's always going to look good when Anderson's finding such brilliant engages for him. But it still takes that presence of mind, right? The execution factor from the Ori can never be forgotten. That it does take some measurable skill to combo with your Jarvan and get the flag drag ultimate combo going together, and it plays to the synergy, right? Speaks to the fact that these guys are, well versed with one another.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, we'll cut it to a quick break here while we get into the next game. Yeah.
For sure, for sure.